welcome back to the S.H.E Gallery Show. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with us, Anna and Kris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And you are live with us tonight at CAN TV. Please remember that you can join the conversation at 312-738-1060, and you can call us throughout the segment and join in the conversation. Please remember that you can also visit us at our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net. You can always contact us. And please remember that we do have an open call for a coming up visual homage to domestic abuse survivors. That is coming up in October. From victors to survivors, we have a call for poets, songwriters, domestic abuse survivor testimonials. And we also have an upcoming orientation September 22nd, so you could visit our website for more information on all those upcoming exciting activities that we have. And we are going to jump into the story of Anna and Kris with founders and presidents of Metis Architecture. And Anna is actually partially responsible for where we're sitting at right now with CAN TV. Anna, do you want to talk to us a little bit about your background and your story with CAN TV?
Sure. So CAN TV, we had worked on this project actually since 2000 and designing and programming the space. And in 2015, 3 years ago, we built this new facility, and I led the effort in the design and the construction implementation. It was a lot of work, but definitely part of our pride and joy. And now I am privileged to sit on the board of CAN TV's as a board member alongside Dulce.
And that's actually how we met here at CAN TV. I was just trying to pull up some pictures from some of the buildings that you've worked on, and they're not pulling up, but I will briefly talk about how we met here at CAN TV. We had our first art exhibition, and we presented Piloto. That was one of the artists from Pilsen community. And we were at our first board meeting, and Anna comes to me and she says, thank you for doing this. I built this with this idea of having art on the walls, and that was really special. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about your designing this space?
So yes, the space was really, we were trying to make it, CAN TV was originally in Greektown, right, Green Street, and they were ready for a new home. And IMD, the Illinois Medical District, was going through a revitalization program, and now having CAN TV having this opportunity to build a new facility was exciting. So what we tried to do was give them everything what they wanted, from a new large studio and this small hotline studio, and also have dual purpose to serve the community. So the art gallery that you're mentioning is actually also the very wide corridor that we have. So when you enter, what you see is this really beautiful gallery space that's naturally daylit. And we made sure everything was very much soundproofed as well, because that's key to the function and operation of CAN TV.
Thank you, Anna. And then we have Kris Gorospe. I'm going to pronounce your last name incorrectly. How do you pronounce your last name?
Gorospe.
Gorospe.
Yes.
And do you want to talk to us a little bit about your background and your relation with Anna, and then how do you guys build up?
Absolutely.
And while you do that, I'm going to try to pull up these images.
No problem. I'm also in the design and construction industry. I'm Anna's partner with Metis Design, and I basically serve as kind of back of the house operations for the firm. And we started the company a few years back with an idea to apply both what I learned in the construction industry and hopefully provide Anna with some of construction input in her design and put a little bit more pragmatism, I guess, to the approach.
That's awesome. And you have both worked on multiple projects together. Now we're going to pull some of these up. Actually, let's start with the S.H.E Gallery building. Here we are. So earlier Anna was mentioning this format, this building. This is what we are at right now.
Correct. So this was the earlier rendering of the design of this building, which closely resembles what we actually made. So that's always exciting when the rendering looks exactly the way you want to build it.
Wow. And how long did this project take?
The construction of it was fairly quickly. I believe it was about less than 18 months, a year and a half, less than that. Design took about a year or so, I believe. But here in the rendering, you see that we even take note of the type of trees that we select. So then we get a very holistic design from streetscape to inside the building.
Nice.
And really advertise that CanTV and CanTV Red. That was a lot of fun developing that design.
And we all love to take pictures in front of that Can TV sign right there. That is so cool. Thank you so much. Let's talk about this other project that you both worked on.
So the other projects are, this one is Cook County Forest Preserve. Down 45 minutes south of here is a huge network of forest preserves everyone should take a look at. This one specifically is in the Swallow Cliff area. And what you can't see on this picture is this very long limestone stair that everybody goes to run up and down as exercise. And what the Cook County Forest Preserve wanted was a new warming shelter, so that's what we designed and built. It's a small 3,000 square feet area, but it provided public bathrooms and also rentable space there that you see, those glass garage doors that open up during the summer and becomes a really nice breezeway.
Nice. Now we're talking about Fermilab. I don't know if you are all familiar with Fermilab, but it's a huge institution. You want to talk to us about your involvement with Fermilab?
Sure. So this one was by the Department of Energy. Fermilab is 45 minutes west of here in Batavia, Illinois. We're commissioned to do this 50,000 square feet office building. It was one of the newer, recent new construction additions on that campus. And anything physics research related, people would come here, do research, and it serves as an incubator for the whole campus. And that was a very exciting project too, and that one scored LEED gold on it.
Wow, congratulations. That's amazing. And this is an overhead of the Swallow Cliff Master Plan?
Yeah, so this one they wanted a vision of what the Swallow Cliff can become as a recreational park. It already, by virtue of the stairs, is already a recreation park, but they wanted to have us think of what else can we add to it to make it a recreational park and pay homage to the history of that area. It actually used to be a winter wonderland back in the 20s and 40s, I believe. But because of aging infrastructure, all that had to be taken down. So this is kind of this new approach, but also respecting the history of Swallow Cliff.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I feel like there's a lot of history to respect in architecture overall, right? And you come and you sit in this city where we have so much architecture everywhere we look, and it's such a beautiful city to be in, and to be in architecture. Congratulations for all your achievements. Do you just want to talk to us about your story as individuals who went to school together, right? You went to school and you met there and you fell in love, and then you became partners and worked very, very hard under the roofs of others, right? And then started your own company. So this is 15 years of development and hard work. Do you want to talk to us about that journey, what it's been like? Maybe give some of us some advice?
Anna?
Yes, it is definitely hard work, but it does take quite a bit of planning. Yeah, it was an opportunity for us that to create this environment, this workshop that we like to call it, to implement all the things that we learned over the past 15 years.
What have been some of your biggest struggles?
Oh, that's a challenging question.
Chris?
I think some of the biggest challenges involve going from design to construction, and how do you convince the users to go with the idea that you have? But I think so long as you keep your solutions inclusive and honest with the users, more than likely, about 80% of the time, it will go into construction. And then the other 20%, that's just into the garbage can.
It's really interesting when hearing how you think of this and you break it down from design to construction to architecture. There's different layers then. It's not just one solid, an architecture plan and that's it. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about these layers and what that's like?
Sure.
In the building and the development?
Yeah, that's quite a process.
Yeah.
But it really always really starts with a vision and a group of people who want to make that vision happen. So it really does start with a sit down with everybody and talking and brainstorming, the creative process, the juice is going, right?
Fun.
Yeah, the fun part. But then at some point, it has to be implemented. So then you run down a whole list of objectives and goals, and then that starts to get molded into an actual building. Lines are put onto the paper, and then we call contractors and our consultants and say, well, how do we make this happen? Let's coordinate, let's get it done. And of course, you always have the paperwork, right? Getting the permit, getting inspections, getting all this kind of stuff. But
All the boring stuff.
all the boring stuff, but necessary stuff to actually, get to dig into the ground. But that's the exciting part too. Not only the vision, the concept process and the design process, but also the process of construction is very exciting. And as an architect, I also, getting feedback from my husband here, I do learn more about construction as well, and that helps me become a better architect.
That is so amazing. You seem like you work very well together and it works. So it is exciting in every single part, even in the boring parts, because it's necessary, and that's just the way that life is.
Yeah, it is.
So, enjoy the journey. So in doing this, you build up, and then you get to this point where you are able to build, and then you have your own baby, and congratulations for that. And you're not just building at this point, now you're teaching and you're giving back. Do you want to talk to us about this other half of your journey?
Sure. So this summer I had the privilege of becoming an adjunct professor for the Illinois Institute of Technology. That's where Kris and I met as well, and where we studied architecture. And myself and one of my colleagues, Professor Catherine Wetzel, had developed a program for the students to travel to Japan and study there for 1 month. We had a lot of fun. Again, it's a lot of work, but it was trying to pull together Japanese technology, or what's going on there in the construction and design. We went to a good handful of different design practices in Japan, which is exciting for everybody. And most of all, we immersed ourselves in the culture of Japan. So when you do that, then you start to understand why the different approaches in design, different city planning, because of its history. And so that's something that I had brought to IIT, and I hope to do this. We are already planning to do this next summer, and hopefully involving other universities as well.
It's amazing. Congratulations. This is something that didn't exist before you.
You were correct.
Like this place that we're sitting in. That is amazing. Thank you so much, and for doing that. That's something that is making history, and that is such a great example of the power of education. When you educate yourself and grow through this passion of what you love, and you do everything honestly, you can actually build. And then once you're there, to have this honor to give back and to your roots, and to cultivate this culture, no matter where you're at in the world, to be able to give back. And we have some really cool images that Anna and Kris were able to share with us.
Sure.
We'll go over these.
Yeah.
You can talk to us about your wonderful story. Here we are.
Oh, this one. It's always fun having a class in front of a very traditional, Japanese type of. This is called okonomiyaki, the Japanese pancakes. It's one of those things that I really wanted the students to enjoy. So we we walked in here and sat down and had some pancakes.
Sharing culture.
Yes.
That's awesome. Let's move on to our next photo.
Uh-oh.
Let's fix this one.
So this is one of 7 Japanese design firms that we visited. Oh, that's too bad. It's not. They are.
No, it's not gonna let me. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I guess everybody will just turn their heads. But it's always exciting to have students visit practices. It's hard enough for them to visit Chicago architecture firms here. So it's great that we had the opportunity and the network to get into those doors. This one, yes, a little bit sideways, but that was part of a hiking trip that we did for a day up one of the sacred mountains in Japan. And what you're seeing there is actually a very old dam where you see kind of the 5 holes there.
It looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sorry that this is sideways, but we see here the dams that she's referring to here in the mouse. Okay, we'll take it some
Yeah.
clear pictures and stop
Yeah.
making everybody dizzy.
No, it's okay.
Is there
Just
these your
another group
students?
photo. Yeah, group photo. We had 9 students.
Wow.
A
And
very
what's
different-
this background here?
Oh, that's the famous Tori, or the gate at Miyajima.
What was their experience? Did they talk to you about their experience? What this was like for them?
Yeah, no, they were very, very much excited. They had a great time, especially because they have never been to Japan before. So for many of them, it was a completely different culture. For a few of them, they're familiar with it.
All first timers?
Yeah, they're all first timers. I think there are a couple that they've touched it down as a plane transfer, but otherwise they're all for first timers.
That's amazing, being able to provide this opportunity to these people that may have never been able to travel to Japan, let alone be taught this whole program of architecture. And what was this program? What did it consist of? What did you have these students do or build? Or do you want to talk about this image?
You can go back to the one before
The
it.
classroom?
So there, we had a lot of fun, but there was structure to it. This was accredited course, 2 that they took. But this one, each of the students were tasked to do a building case study from how it was built, what was the idea of the building, who were the architect or architects involved. And then we went to each of those buildings and they presented. So this is one image of one of the students presenting on site. So it is very much a peer-to-peer classroom style as well.
That is so amazing. And here I couldn't help but notice this piece of art here.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't help but thinking of our being downtown.
Yes.
I just couldn't help but notice that. It's so amazing. What do we have here?
So we also had a chance to go to a construction site in the middle of Tokyo. This was a high-rise with an active railway track going through it. It's unbelievable. We weren't allowed to take any pictures inside of the construction site, but we were privileged to walk around it.
And what about the company again?
Oh, the company, this is one of the biggest Japanese construction firms, and the CEO was an IIT alumni, so he really opened the doors for us.
Wow. And this is the S.H.E building construction site. Am I pronouncing that right?
The Seibu
Seibu.
Ikebukuro railway construction site
Amazing.
for a high-rise. It's ultimately going to become an office building and shopping center.
Congratulations.
Okay, and this last photo here, we always have to take photos of our students sketching. And we went to
amazing
different,
photo.
of course, art exhibits. This one in particular was a gallery showcasing avant-garde architects.
Amazing.
So
And here we
here
are
we
back
are
with
again.
the food. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share it with you.
Yeah, and then now recently you both have had a chance to go back home and visit your hometown. And what has it been like to be able to reflect on going back home? Like, this is where you grew up, and then coming back here, or this is where your roots are at. What has that been like in your most recent trips? Aside from just teaching, just being able to visit your hometowns.
I do wish I had more time to visit my actual hometown, but certainly going with the students gave me a different perspective. Yeah.
And for myself, we took a trip recently this year to the Philippines, which is my parents' hometown, and seeing that change was quite something. Plus the heat.
And the heat. Well, we're getting a bit of the heat out here too. And now here you are in Chicago, and this has become your home no matter what, and especially in Pilsen, And we thank you for that and for being able to help cultivate your roots here and back home and in Pilsen, and really sharing that you can make a home anywhere that you want and give back, with the power of education. We do have to wrap up the show, and I just wanted to ask you if you wanted to share where you see yourselves in 5 years.
Growing. I'll say it in one word, teaching.
Building. Do you feel
sharing.
like you satisfy more of like teaching, like actually hands-on teaching or building?
Both. It's a balance
Yeah.
of both. As much as you design and build, you got to give back and teach, and that to me is strikes the right balance for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I want to be your student.
Come in anytime.
And what's it like being in Chicago as architects, being around so much architecture? Do you feel like you're at the right, I mean, obviously you're in the right place, but what's that like for you?
It's definitely, I think it's the perfect laboratory for this type of work. It was the birthplace, after all, of the high-rise and a few other types of buildings that are practiced or built all over the world. And in terms of a community as well, it's a very thriving and very generous community, and both on the learning and the practice side. So we learn just as much from both. People who own other companies, small to large companies, and we learn from the processes that we've worked on in projects in the past with them, and also with what they're trying to put out as new practice in terms of trying to innovate design and teaching. So.
And that's really important and cool. One of the things that, like, are the first conversations that I was able to have with Anna was started with this, how we met with CAN TV, and then now we both sit on the board, and that's been wonderful. And how she, you know, we talk about S.H.E Gallery and the dreams to build, and we want to build S.H.E Gallery. And I was able to meet with her and Kris on a couple of occasions, and they're just so humbling. Like, what is it that you need? And they're so open to, like, really listen to you and really get in your head. And, like, I think that's half of what maybe makes a business so successful, is really listening to this vision, because it is the vision that you're going to end up, you know, bringing to life. And I really I just wanted to highlight this idea of the ideas, how everything's born with a simple conversation, and how much can be brought from a simple conversation. We're literally sitting on this building right now, having this show, this segment, having this conversation because of conversations, and many conversations and hard work that happened here. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we say bye-bye?
I think just persevere, and as
Yes.
you know, you having this show, it's about giving voice and about giving back to the community.
Giving back to the community. And if you ever have the opportunity, please do so. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you again next week.